up, boys? How we doing, everybody? Hope we are doing well. Hope we are doing good. Jordan, you look great.
I'm feeling great.
That's what I like to hear, man.
Yep.
We are missing our boy Adam. Something came up. That's all right. We're gonna be fine. We're missing him, but we're gonna be fine. Jordan.
Yep. Sorry, I'm getting my chat up so I can pay attention to the chat
Gotcha.
here today. Yeah.
All right, so Jordan, we've talked about this before. We have a quick episode for us. Jordan, why don't you do me a favor and just scoot back a little?
Scoot back.
Maybe it's my fault.
No, that's okay. You tell me where to be.
You're fine. Your head just gets a little bit cut off. You'll be fine.
Okay.
It's on my end, and I don't want to mess with it. There you go. Perfect.
Oh, how's that?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we're live on YouTube right now. YouTube.com/Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. If you're watching later on, follow us on Facebook. That's where.
I told you. You said don't. I won't touch anything.
I know.
And now you're over here clicking around.
Now we're just clicking around, and I'm just trying to make things better.
No, just leave it. It's perfect the way it is.
It's froze.
Oh.
God bless America. Oh no, wait, might be back. Hold on. I don't know why it's doing that. It's frozen. Can you see it? Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
All right.
You always are.
Messing with stuff, except my head thing's all messed up. I want to put it back. All right, we're gonna.
It looks great. It looks great. Yeah.
Look bad. You're watching it. Sorry for all that. As you can see, everything's been freezing, and I don't know why. So we're just gonna we're gonna leave it. I'm not gonna touch anything, and we're just gonna keep going. Are you ready, Jordan?
Yep. I'm pushing play.
All right. Welcome back to Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. We're here to help you take the next step in your fantasy journey. I'm your host, Jake, and I am once again joined by my friend, Jordan. Jordan, how we doing?
Oh, wild week one, Jake. Wild week one. We got a lot to unpack.
Oh, man. And only 30 minutes to do it.
30 minutes to do it.
We're keeping it under 30 minutes. We're live on YouTube right now at youtube.com/The Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. If you're watching live with us right now, computers, they're just being the worst right now. I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to have to, unplug everything. My picture is off the background. There's just a big white box behind me. Can you see that on your end, Jordan?
Yeah, of course.
I hate it. It bothers me so badly. But I know if I touch something, it's going to mess up. Don says in the chat, what's up with the big white bar above Jake's head? I'm explaining it right now.
Don, come
I
on.
don't want to fix it because it'll freeze up everything. So you know what? You get a white bar above my head, and you're welcome. So Jordan, we're missing Adam today. He's
Life
busy.
coaching
Coaching
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
The kids. We know this about Adam. Right? This first month is a busy time for him. So we miss you, Adam. I assume you're going to listen later. You better listen later, and hopefully you can make it on next week.
Yeah.
So,
Adam, if you're listening, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. And that goes for anyone listening right now. Make sure you go on our YouTube and like and subscribe. Our Facebook, follow us there, Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. Our Instagram, next_step_pod. All right.
Enough of that, Jake. We got to talk.
We got to start talking.
Yeah. All right. So we'll pause here. Thank you, Adam, for leading me in with the news. The biggest thing, we just got to kick off the show. Aaron Rodgers, Monday Night Football against the Bills. Just huge, thunderous welcome into MetLife Stadium. First game as a Jet. 4 snaps into it, he tears his Achilles. Done for the year. That is just brutal. It makes me sick. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So Aaron Rodgers has a torn Achilles. Zach Wilson played in his place. It sounds like Robert Saleh says that Zach Wilson's the guy for the rest of the year. They're probably going to move up Tim Boyle as the backup. Maybe they shop around and try and bring someone in. But holy cow. That's crazy. Jake, what are your thoughts?
just brutal. Just brutal for fantasy, obviously. But you feel, I mean, we've expressed our opinions on Aaron Rodgers. Not the biggest Aaron Rodgers supporters here on the pod. But you never want to see someone go through that. And it's a bummer because everyone's so excited and we didn't even get to see it, right? He has not completed a pass. So, fantasy-wise, it hurts all players. Other than, I would say, the running backs, Cook and Breece Hall, probably ticks them up just a bit. But it hurts Garrett Wilson, who probably slides more into that low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. And then it kills your Allen Lazard, or it kills your possible flex plays there. You probably just want to stay away. Who knows? Maybe Zach, steal your mom, Wilson will be able to string some things together, but just the worst. Dennis in the chat says, "What's up, fam? Just got here and glad to join." Dennis, it's good to see you. I love new faces in here. Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for saying something in the chat. Don says, "How about Mike Evans and the Bucks? Surprise of the week?" Yes, I think Baker played great. That's awesome. We were hoping that would happen.
Yeah, he's still going to get benched for Kyle Trask by week 5.
It will
not. Still going to happen. So,
I might try for him in the home league.
All right, do it.
Also, Rodgers, so things are thin.
Yeah. So, Aaron Rodgers, obviously the big thing this week. Not much more to say about that other than the fantasy impact. Obviously, the football impacts are huge. You mentioned, we have our feelings about Aaron Rodgers, but I was excited. to see it. I loved watching Hard Knocks. I was ready to go. I was buying into the hype. Just a real bummer. So we'll keep an eye on what the Jets do. It seems like that'll be in the news quite a bit. Today's Tuesday that we're recording this, so by the time the Jets play this weekend, I'm sure we'll have more details there. Speaking of season-ending Achilles injuries, J.K. Dobbins, running back for the Ravens, also a season-ending Achilles injury. So that's back-to-back seasons that he had season-ending injuries. I mean, he's probably done as just fantasy relevant
at least
running
for a
back.
While.
This season and even probably beyond. I mean, that's so they said they're staying in house. So like Gus Edwards, and they added Melvin Gordon to the active roster. So lots of moves there.
Hey, Super Bowl champion Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, sure. Yep, exactly.
So who's the guy to own?
I always think that Gus Edwards ends up finding a way to be the one to have, but flex play at best.
Yeah, I think I would actually say Justice Hill. He scored twice last time, but I don't know.
I mean, every time J.K. Dobbins is out, it always ends up seeming to be Gus Edwards that fills the role. We'll see, but I agree. I don't want any of them.
Yeah.
I didn't really want J.K. Dobbins, so. Other injury things to just be aware of: Deontay Johnson expected to miss a few weeks with a hammy injury, so hurts Kenny Pickett. Steelers offense that looks just kind of slow against the 49ers.
They really did.
In week 1. Other just kind of injury things to keep an eye on: Austin Eckler has a nagging ankle injury. We'll keep an eye on that, but he's still at 16 carries, 100 yards, touchdown. So something to keep an eye on, but you're still starting him no matter what.
Yeah.
Other news, Chris Jones agrees to a new contract with the Chiefs, so he'll be back for week 2, it looks like. Also, Travis Kelce looked like he'll be back, so full strength for the Chiefs, which they desperately need after that week 1 loss to the Lions, which was a fun game. That was a good way for me to get back into football.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Yeah, it was good to kind of screw around and do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to be fine.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to be fine. Colts news is the last thing I have. Jonathan Taylor was not with the team at all during week 1. The saga continues. He's out until at least past week 4. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yep. And then Anthony Richardson avoided any serious injury. He got rocked. Huge hit in the fourth quarter, and then they took him out, and Gardner Minshew played the rest of the game, just the last couple of drives.
I was at home, and I turned to my wife, and I said, "Ooh, Gardner Minshew mania. It's time."
No, he's fine. And Anthony Richardson played awesome. I was so excited about that. He dropped back like 40 times. I thought he was just going to run, but it's looking like Jalen Hurts vibes.
He actually played really well.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's the news. That's what I have. Again, Aaron Rodgers, the big thing. A couple of key surprises, obviously, the Lions winning, the Giants getting just mollywopped by the Cowboys. We talked about the Bucks beating the Vikings, so that was cool there. So Calvin Ridley looked like he didn't miss a step. He's just back and just awesome. So some really, obviously we talked about injuries and stuff, but also some pretty exciting things to keep an eye out for going into week 2.
All right. Why don't we go ahead and jump into our Thursday night Top Gun. So that's the guy we think that Thursday night game is going to do well. Last week we had, please help me.
Last week's Thursday?
Yeah.
Was Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. We were hoping for 3 touchdowns. We didn't get it. He played a decent game, though. I mean, he got you 15 fantasy points.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And, well, that's his floor, right? Like, that's what you want, a basic thing. Mm-hmm. Who knows? I mean, we were hoping for more, but that's it.
And just a reminder, too, these are guys that we're picking out. Like, these are ones that you wouldn't be obviously starting, right? So there's guys, you're just going to start. I'm Ross St. Brown. You're starting, 10 times out of 10. That kind of thing. So we're always trying to pick guys that might be kind of a little bit lower, that might be on your bench, and this might be the time to throw them in your lineup. So, Jake, who do we got this Thursday?
Well, for anyone who's been listening to the podcast, it's a guy that I have liked, and I may have just been a year early. And that is Kenneth Gainwell. I would say Gainswell for some reason. Number 14 from the Eagles. So, the Eagles brought in Rashad Penny. They bring in DeAndre Swift. They already had Boston Scott, right? So they talk about how all these guys are going to be a part of it. If you went out and added Kenneth Gainwell on your roster and threw him on the back half, you are thrilled. He had 14 rushing attempts. He turned it in. He didn't have the biggest game, but it was a decent fantasy game. If I'm going to pull it up on my phone here, because I took a screenshot of it. I don't have it. But the point is that he had Jordan will look it up for me.
Yeah, 54 yards on 14 carries.
Yeah. And did he have any catches?
4.
So 4 catches. So PPR, he had 10 points. Not a huge game, right? If one of those scores a touchdown, all of a sudden he's at 17, right? What I want to point out here is that the offense really wasn't clicking during this game for the Eagles. I mean, they nearly lost to the Patriots, right?
Yep.
And the biggest thing here is Rashad Penny was a healthy scratch, and DeAndre Swift had 1 carry. Yep. Meaning, apparently, Kenneth Gainwell is a bell cow, which, I mean, who saw that coming?
Yeah.
So love that. I'm going to start him this week, going up against Minnesota, who just let Baker Mayfield look like he was the second coming. And here's the thing. When you have an opportunity to start a guy who's going to get most of the carries, you should be doing it. I have him in my home league. I'm going to start him. Start him. He is our Thursday night Top Gun. I think he can definitely get another 50 yards, and I think this week he gets in the end zone. Now, Jordan, caveat. Tell the people what the caveat is.
He didn't practice today.
Yeah.
He's feeling a little banged up.
And it's Tuesday.
Yep. So it's Tuesday. We'll keep an eye on it. Usually holding out your
your
bell cow running back for one practice is not a big deal usually. So we'll just keep an eye on it. If we do that, we'll obviously let the folks know. We post our graphic and stuff like that. We'll keep everyone in the loop.
Where do we post that?
Everywhere, Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you. Can you tell the people, though, in case you're listening to this Wednesday and you, for some reason, cannot get on Facebook or Instagram, who would our other Top Gun be?
Yeah, the other one that we really like this week is Jordan Addison. Mm-hmm. The reason for that is I like Kirk Cousins and stuff too. Like we just mentioned that the Patriots almost beat the Eagles, but Mac Jones, who is not that great, had 3 touchdowns, and the second half of that game he looked great against the Eagles, who have a really great defense. Right, they're kind of known for their defense as being the Georgia Bulldogs defense. Anyway. So if Mac Jones can do it, I like what Kirk Cousins can do. Jordan Addison had a touchdown last week. I think he's a part of that offense, a legitimate part of that offense. So obviously you're starting Justin Jefferson, you're starting T.J. Hockenson. I also like Jordan Addison.
I think that we've seen the Vikings be able to produce multiple fantasy relevant players per week. So I think that at best he's third in the pecking order as it stands right now. But we saw the 39-yard touchdown, so we got a glimpse of it. So he'd be our other one.
Yep.
So then let's move into Sunday. Jordan, do you got one or two guys you want to talk about? I can start if you want.
Yeah, start.
All right, so start and sit. So guys, these are guys that, like Jordan had mentioned, that, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're starting him. Josh Allen, you're starting him, though he was awful the other day, and that
still have to start.
That was overshadowed by the fact that Aaron Rodgers got hurt. So some guys that you might consider, right? To maybe, and for me, I'm gonna go against the Green Bay Packers, and that is Tyler Algier is gonna be a start for me this week in a flex play. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not starting him as my running back too, but if you have him for a flex, I'd put him in there. Maybe a little bit outside of the box here because the Packers just beat the Bears and beat them handily. I am of the opinion, and we're not talking about Jordan Love here, but I am of the opinion that if you watch the Packer and Bears game and you saw how it went, it was more about how bad the Bears were than how good the Packers were. I think the Packers were the better team easily, but I just don't think that defense is that good, right?
I agree.
A decent run stopping, or a good defensive line, but for me, and this is kind of similar to the Gainwell thing. So everyone hypes up Bijan, and Bijan's great, right? He got a touchdown last week. Everyone's starting him no matter what. Algier had more carries, more rushing yards, and what I like to see here is that he also caught 3 passes. And I know it's only 3 passes. Last year, was not part of the receiving game, even slightly. So last week he had 17... Oh, I'm sorry. One moment. I'm looking at it. 18 carries, or touches. And, 15 carries, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's currently running back 3 on the year. Do I think he's going to get 2 tutties again? No. But what I do think is that this offense is going to run the ball a lot. And in a flex play, I think, with touchdown upside, he got the goal line carries. I will admit, there's a little nerves, right? I don't know if... You would assume Bijan's going to get goal line carries eventually. But I've been saying it all summer. I think that Tyler Algier will have a flex play throughout the entire season. So he's a start for me this week. Maybe you just lost J.K. Dobbins or something. If he's on the waiver wire, go get him stat, is my thought too. He should be number 1 over anyone right now if he's on the waiver wire.
Totally agree. You've been hitting this one all offseason too, Jake, that Tyler Algier definitely has a role in that offense.
Yeah.
I think we were all a lot of people were buying into the Bijan Robinson hype, which they should, right?
Yeah.
And he played
He's
awesome.
The better
he got
back.
a touchdown.
He's going to be the guy of the future.
Yep. But the Atlanta Falcons continued where they left off, which is they are going to rush the ball somewhere between 20 and 30 times, maybe even more. Like, they are not a pass-first offense. Like, Desmond Ridder had 18 attempts. And 15 completions, and of the 15 completions, 9 of them were to running backs. Like, so we're just talking about, like, they are going to run the ball, and then they're going to pass it to their running backs. They're not really a dynamic offense. And so I think that what that means is Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier is both part of that. What's the balance between that? I think, if we're thinking about carries, Tyler Algier had 15, Bijan had 10. That might switch week to week.
Yep.
But you're looking at, like, 10-plus touches a game.
Yeah, I think
for Tyler Algier. And I love that. I love it.
They won 20, 21, 24 to something.
Yeah.
I think that the only nerves would be if they get behind too quickly. And I think I think it would be a closer game than people think. So give me Tyler Algier.
All right, let me hit you with my start. My start this week is Zay Flowers versus the Bengals.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why.
Best rookie receiver last week.
Definitely the best rookie receiver. He had, of the 22 pass attempts that Lamar Jackson had, 10 of them were targets to Zay Flowers. I mean, he's basically at 50% of all pass attempts went to Zay Flowers.
He's making my Odell Beckham take look real bad.
Yeah, not good. Not a good look. So he hit 9 receptions, 78 yards on 10 targets. He didn't find the end zone, but I think he's emerging and will continue to emerge as kind of the first option on that team. I think if he continues to build that relationship with Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman has shown it's not him.
Yeah.
Odell, it could be, but I think, Odell is just a cool name at this point, and
I mean,
a wide receiver.
Odell only saw 3 targets, so.
Yep. So again, I mean, if you're getting 50% of all targets are coming your direction, that's what I really like. So I look for that to continue against the Bengals. I think the Bengals the Browns beat up on the Bengals this past week.
But I think you don't start Joe Burrow week 1. You just don't do it.
You can't do it. Yep. Especially because he was didn't practice and stuff. So I expect that to get better. But the Browns offense, was not that great, and they put up 20+ points. So that's what I like about Zay Flowers this week. It was cool to see. I was excited to see that rookie wide receiver get so involved so early.
I mean, I believe I read that it was a record for most catches by a rookie in their first week.
Really?
I might be wrong in that, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, he had 9 receptions. That's the part I like to see. 9 receptions on 10 targets. So he was efficient. He had 2 carries as well. They were getting him the ball. I wonder out loud if he will be a beneficiary of no J.K. Dobbins.
I think you're right.
Especially, typically we won't see this going in the future, but in a rookie's receiver's first year, they do a lot of crazy stuff with them, right? So maybe he'll get more carries. Who knows? I like that one.
That'd be fun. I'd like.
Is he a flex for you, or say you only start 2 receivers? You're not starting him quite yet as one of those receivers.
Definitely a flex.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, but I like that. I'm gonna go back. I don't think this is cheating. I'm gonna go back to the Eagles here for my sit of the week.
Okay.
And that is DeAndre Swift. We talked about the running back.
Yeah.
Is that not even fun? That's not even fun.
Sit him. Yeah, that was my sit last week.
Oh, that's
It
right.
was my sit last week. You can't sit him 2 weeks in a row.
All right, then you go again, and I'm gonna think of someone.
Oh, can I do one more start, and then I'll switch to my sit? All right, my other start this week, I'm all about the rookies. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I think that Shane Steichen, so coming from the Eagles, had Jalen Hurts, it was his offensive coordinator last year. Now he's the head coach. It seems like he's using Anthony Richardson in a very Jalen Hurts-esque type of way, which I was very excited to see. So that's the week 1, I was kind of like, oh, what are they going to do? Is he going to be a passer or whatever? He had 37 pass attempts. He dropped back 40+ times. He had 10 carries. He found the end zone. It wasn't the prettiest game of all time, but he was in on that offense, right? He was making plays. He was scrambling. He was rushing. He was slinging the ball. So I really like that. And he's playing the Texans this week, which love that. So
gotta love that.
Yeah, so if you can give the Jags a run for their money, I like what you're doing to the Texans. So anyway, 2 interesting rookies. Those were the 2 just this past week of rookies that I was most excited about. I think other rookies, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, they had good games. You could be excited about them for the future. But these 2 guys, I think, showed that they're ready to contribute right away.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. That's good. I agree. Start them. I started.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
In fairness, I was trying to figure out who to do for my sits. I will say about DeAndre Swift, though, that man had touched the ball 2 times. What a disappointment. Terrible in our big money league, Jordan, that we had done.
Yeah.
We were here starting him. Hopefully you'll fix
that. Because that was there. And Cooper Kupp is out.
God, Cooper. My poor guy. Yeah. All right. I'll go for a sit of the week. A guy who scored a touchdown this past week. And that is Cam Akers for the Rams.
I had him on my list too. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a great one.
Look at us just looking. If I told you this running back had 22, led his team in carries with 22, scored a touchdown, you would assume that he had a good game. Jordan, you have a calculator near you somewhere, right?
Sure.
He had 29 yards on 22 carries for a grand spanking total of
1.3 yards per carry.
1.3 yards per carry. Jordan, if you had 22 carries in the NFL, do you think you could average 1.3? Like, this is one of those games that we talk about. Like, that's literally, it was so bad.
Could you average 1 yard per carry in the NFL?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes, I could.
I mean,
I'm a tall guy.
Might be,
just fall
I'm
forward.
just saying, I might be broken. Like, I might have broken limbs.
Yeah.
But at least 1 yard on a carry, I mean, I'd get close. You know, maybe not, but I get close.
And then here's another thing. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that Kieran Williams as well had 15 carries, 52 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They had 40 running back carries, if you count Matthew Stafford's 3 rushes as well, for 92 yards.
92 yards on 40 carries?
That's 2.0 something yards per
2.3.
carry. 2.3.
Yeah, that's gross.
That's really bad. No, thank you. You got Cam Akers, who's being grossly inefficient, and now looks to be completely splitting his carries.
Yeah.
So I don't want anything to do with that one. You're probably starting him as your running back two. I would bump him down. Would you still start him as a flex? I'd start Zay Flowers over him.
I would, for sure.
Yeah, I would start all those people we just talked about over him.
Well, yeah, those are our starts versus our
sits.
I
know, but
definitely sit him. Yeah,
I'm sitting Cam Akers. Dennis in the chat says he's a Chicago Bears fan. We had our best weekend. Panthers and us lost, plus Packers can't get a first now for Rodgers. All right.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. But yes, with Rodgers being out for the whole season, will be a second instead of a first. Small potatoes.
And John's in here and says Baker's back. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's the YouTube channel. We're live right now, youtube.com/Next Fantasy Football Podcast. Jordan, hit him with a sit.
All right, my sit this week is Dak Prescott versus the Jets. I'll tell you why. Yep.
Don't disrespect Dak.
There's no disrespect to Dak. He'll be fine. It's just this week I'm sitting him. Against the Giants, they put up 40 points. In that 40-point showing, Dak had 143 pass yards.
He didn't need to. That's the point, though.
He's going up against a much better New York Jets defense than the Giants defense. So
I'm starting Dak.
He'll do better. He'll do better.
I disagree with you so hard. I'm starting Dak. He's good.
He's good. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying this week I'm sitting him.
It doesn't matter that he's going up against a good defense. Most defenses are good.
That is just incorrect.
What you're saying?
Defenses are not the same.
Hold on. What you're saying to me is if you flip the schedule, right, and the first game was Dallas versus the Jets, you're sitting Dak.
In the first week of the year? No, because I have new data. I have new data now. Oh, my God.
No. It's not. That game was so funky, the new data shouldn't count. He played well. He was efficient. He didn't have to do great. Plus, when you hand it to my man, Tony Pollard.
Oh, top 5. He's currently running back 5. Look out.
Top 3. It's coming. He's climbing. But I hear what you say. I'm not benching him, though. Like, I would start him over most. I mean, he'd be in my top 10.
If I'm looking right now, he'll be reflected in our rankings appropriately.
Well, he better be in the top 10 because if he's in the top 10, you're starting him.
Not if I had Anthony Richardson instead.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
That's my start. My start sits. Right, that is what I'm talking about.
Let's keep it going. We got 3.5 minutes. We're keeping this one under a half hour. Quickly answering questions. Jordan, yes or no? Would you start Jordan Addison in your flex this week?
Yes.
And what do you think? How do you think Jordan Love did? Jordan Love did. He did great. He did a lot better than expecting. It's very important though to not over react to it. He's still a quarterback too.
Correct. Also, and he didn't have Christian Watson. The Bears stink.
Also Puka from the Rams. Fluke or real thing? I think he had 10 catches or something like that. It's a real thing. At least for now, until Kupp returns from there, then we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Monday Night Miracle, talk about it. We whiffed on Dalvin Cook this past week. We thought that Breece Hall would be, eased back. Now they just went full force. In fairness, I think that's because Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing. So
I agree with that.
Who do you got?
Yep. All right, we're looking at a bounce back weekend for our Monday Night Miracle. It
Say
is
his
the Browns
name.
versus the Steelers. The Browns versus the Steelers. We're kind of high on Kenny
We
Pickett.
love Kenny Pickett.
We're kind of high on Kenny Pickett, and that's kind of crazy for me to say because one, he had kind of a pretty bad week against San Francisco, right? So San Francisco defense. Is the best defense. They showed it. They showed it again. Slow start. It's Kenny Pickett is still young. He's so young. So rough week. I'm looking for him to have a bounce back week. Again, we're not saying that he's gonna be insane or like he's definitely a top 10 or anything like that. We're looking at those guys that you wouldn't be typically starting.
Yep.
And so we're looking here. So like your Nick Chubbs, you definitely want him playing and things like that. Still another tough defense with the Browns,
Yep.
but I'm looking for him to bounce back. Deontay Johnson being out is kind of another sting, but I think Kenny Pickett throws 2 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, I mean I love that. I think that this pick'em is more for people who just lost Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
Say you waited and you picked up Aaron Rodgers and you're like, I'm running with that, and crap, now I'm on the waiver wire, right? I think Kenny Pickett, if you're playing week to week, Kenny Pickett could be a really good play here. It was just a good defense that tore him apart. Their offensive line couldn't keep him upright last week, and I don't foresee him being sacked 5 more times. Also, his interceptions, I don't know if you watched them, they were his fault, but they weren't egregious. It was just
agreed.
Some
yeah,
good
one
plays.
Of them was like a weird, yeah.
I think there was a Fred Warner one that got bounced around, and
yeah.
But so yes, give me Kenny Pickett. Oh man, the thing I was holding this whole episode I just dropped. What a bummer. Worst episode ever.
Worst episode.
Quickly, let's hit the chat. We got 30 seconds. High on George Pickens. So are we, especially in Dynasty. Love George Pickens.
Yep. And now Deontay Johnson is out for a couple of weeks. I think George Pickens' stock rises even more.
Definitely a flex play. Definitely a flex play who could work into wide receiver too. How about those Bucks? Yeah, Bucks played really well, beat the Vikings. Do they beat the Bears this week?
Yes.
I'm gonna say no. I think that we get a bounce back. Justin Fields.
Justin Fields game. All right.
I still think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this division. Is my thought.
In the division.
In the NFC North.
So of the 4 quarterbacks,
yes.
He's number 2.
Yes, I believe so.
Well, that's not saying a lot.
No, but am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Okay.
Now, the other guys are just
the
fine.
part we disagree with is who's number 1.
Oh, you're gonna say Kirk.
I'm gonna say Goff, actually.
Goff.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh. Someone said the Pittsburgh schedule gets easier. That is very true. Definitely a guy you could pick up for a few weeks.
Is Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
Definitely, especially if you had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yep, totally agree.
All right, guys, we appreciate you guys hanging around. This early episode, we did it a little earlier than typical. I have to go put my kid to bed, so that's why we kind of did this a little earlier. Guys, you can follow us on Facebook at the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast. We hit 400, Jordan. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, Adam. Thank you to you guys.
You all.
400 people on there. I just, and people ask for our opinions. That's nuts to me still. It's just crazy to me. You can follow us on Instagram at next_step_pod. We're pushing to 2,000 on that one. So if you're not following us in there, hit us there. And then we're live on YouTube at youtube.com/nextstepfantasyfootballpodcast. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, please. It's super helpful, super great. I mean, that's great. That's gaining. We're almost to 50 subscribers on that one. So we're about 20 away from there. Jordan, unless you have anything else you would like to say.
No, week 2. Football's back. I hope you all got the dubs this week.
Yes, get the dubs. Let's go 2-0.
Yep, love it.
All right. You guys take care. Be good. Guys on YouTube, we appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hopping in this chat and hanging around with us. We'll be live again Tuesday. We're trying to figure out the day, Tuesday or Wednesday. It's a little tough with Adam. This first month is busy for him, so we'll figure it out.
But thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here, and just follow us on the Next Step Fantasy Football Podcast, so you'll know when we're going live and when we're not, and all that junk. So, you guys, thank you for hanging